You ready to do this?
Yeah, it's rock and roll.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and people outside the binary. This is Less Stupid with Thomas Huda, a show that's completely uncut, uncensored, and unsure what it's going to be like to be in these unfamiliar circumstances. But I'm glad to be here with a friend.
Absolutely.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Tiger Gruber. I'm the host of Talks with Tiger. I've actually had your main person here, Tommy Hura, on my show 3 times, and soon to be a 4th and sometime in the future.
It's been much appreciated, my homie.
Yeah, it's always been a pleasure speaking with you, learning from you. Disagreeing with you is sometimes one of the more enjoyable parts of...
Absolutely. Right now, I am a little uncomfortable because I know how fat I look in this shot next to you. You're a very, well in conventional shape gentleman, so...
It's because I don't eat because it's expensive to eat. Actually, so what I do, I probably just meal prep a big thing of like just potatoes and sausage once a week, and I just eat that once or twice a day all week, and then I'll do it again.
Nice.
So probably the most unhealthy way to live, but it works.
Hey, there you go. Well, it's certainly not a negative thing to be fat. Like, I don't want to make that as like a broad claim, but I do experience like, oh man, like I don't know what I'm trying to go with that.
Thomas, fat shaming hero in the house.
Here I am.
I'm kidding.
For being real about what it's like.
You called me out for fat shaming in life.
I'm sure I probably have because compared to you, I'm a huge wokester and I'm always correcting your stuff because there's a lot to correct. So let's get into it. Here's an early question I like to ask people. What is a controversial opinion you have?
Oh, can I make it really personal?
Sure.
I would almost consider myself alt-right. Because
really?
I will
what
never
are you
say
doing on my show.
I don't know. I won't say my pronouns. I don't think I should be in a world where I have to say my pronouns. I don't want my kids being in a world where they have to say their pronouns.
Okay.
And that makes you all right these days.
And that makes you all right these days. Okay. So thank you, because let me reverse the convention of your logic there.
Yeah.
You are not alt-right, but you're saying that what you really are is you don't want to have your pronouns out there on the table all the time. You thus feel relegated by the left in air quotes.
The wokesters.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about what has gotten you to feel that way, because here's where I am in the world. I'm feeling like everybody comes up. They're born, their reality is kind of reshaped over the course of learning that their parents aren't God, and that their communities and their schools aren't everything. And at some point, you take on a position on pretty much most labels. Like, for example, we're using this word wokester. And why have you gotten this negative feeling about that label? Because for me, for
Wokester?
a long time,
I just think wokesters, I don't have any negative connotations about anyone, even alt-right or wokesters. I think they're both what they are, but I think wokesters are definitely more likely to label people alt-right, and alt-right people are more likely to label people wokesters. I'm neither. I'm a centrist. I'm exactly in the middle.
You're a centrist.
I think my slightly right views make anyone who's very left consider me very right.
Do you think that that's true in the inverse as well? Maybe not as much?
100%. Okay. I mean, I like Bernie. I'm pretty sure I'd be called a libtard.
Right. So, okay. So you are also a musician.
Yeah.
Here I am. Like, okay, fuck all this.
Too controversial.
Yeah, no, I hate this.
I also have strong views on
Muslim.
You have a
long... you better redeem yourself, because this is the worst start to an episode I've ever had.
Rough. Yeah, no, give it.
But it's a pleasure.
We have had some really
good chats.
That was a controversial view. You asked for controversial. I made it personal because I know you're a member of the whole trans non-binary community. Sure. And I know a lot of your viewers probably are. So. Yeah,
well, I hope. I don't know why I said I hope so or hope not, but...
It's just an opportunity to speak to someone who y'all view as the most ignorant person.
Absolutely.
What would you say to someone who says, do I have to say my pronouns? It shouldn't matter.
No, and I've had actually that come up as a response to being asked, or the growing culture of trying to ask people what their pronouns are. Is people kind of like you, they want to kind of not be a part of it and push it away and say, you know what? But doesn't that imply, though, Tiger, that it was a better status quo before? And do you believe that it was a better status quo before to basically only say that there are the he, him, and the she, her pronouns?
No, I think people who want to go by something different than what they obviously show, like masculine appearing, or however people call it. One of my guests said like femme appearing and stuff. Or how you would femme. Oh, how you would see me
Presenting?
Yeah, if I'm presenting and stuff. Like if you want to go by something other than that, you can tell people. Like the 1 or 5 or 10% of people who do go by that, tell people, and everyone should be super welcoming, like cool. But I mean, I've been in groups of people where everyone just says the pronouns, which they most obviously are. I'm like, this is strange. Why should everyone, it just seems like another time waster, another way to divide people. Because now people
another time waster and another way to divide people.
I am all for no way of. I mean, I'm wearing this, but I'm always usually wearing sand color stuff. I think you shouldn't define yourself too much. I'm against being like I'm this person and this and this and this. Krishnamurti has a good saying: every time you define yourself as something, you're being violent in the world, and I believe that to its core.
But what if the label that you're ascribing to with fellow people who have been subjugated by violence is the identity that you're creating solidarity with, that you're building together and saying, well, hey, let's take, for example, the African-American community, particularly the descendants of transnational slave trade. Don't you think that by those people saying, hey, yeah, we have to continually band together because look at all these chapters of history that reinforce the idea that no one's going to look out for our issues sincerely except for us.
No, and that's an incredible point. That completely deconstructs my point, but I still hold it. No, that's...
Well, okay, let's talk about podcast hosting because even now I'm like, okay, part of what sucks about this medium, for one thing, is it takes me a while to get extra comfortable with people when I'm having a conversation and then have like the best conversation with them.
Yeah.
But I know that people who are watching this on YouTube or listening to this on Spotify have many other options for where to go if they're not interested after the first 90 seconds or 200 seconds or whatever.
So I have 2 considerations for this. One, I want to put it in my description. Conversation hits flow at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 25 minutes, so people can know and skip in. Because, for example, I skip into Joe Rogan's show to about 15 minutes every time because that's where it gets good. That gets past the ads. Another thing I'm considering is just cutting.
I didn't even know he had ads.
He has 8 minutes of ads.
I only watch
clips.
No, I watch JRE clips sometimes, but I watch the powerful JRE.
YouTube doesn't, but on podcasting apps, he has 8 minutes of app. Yeah. But he doesn't in the middle of the show, which I respect more than anything in a podcaster.
He does it, or he doesn't do it
in the middle of shows. I don't think you should stop a show for ads. I think it ruins the experience.
Okay. Yeah, dude, we have funny ideas about, because I was going to call this show Long Pauses. I don't know that I'm always going to keep it as Less Stupid either. Actually, the more that I've gone forward in the world with this name, the more I've kind of been like, is this holding me back more than it's actually going to be a positive thing?
Yeah.
Because it's so easy and it's understandable for people to, I
like it.
I almost purposely set it up to be misinterpreted. Then I can be like, oh, how dare you misinterpret my name? It actually has this very noble meaning.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just I really like humanizing people, I think that with Humanity EUG as the news network that
I like that. That's my favorite thing of your endeavors is hands down your news station. That's the one I follow. Thanks. I like it, dude. We need a better news station here in Eugene, and Humanity News is definitely the option. The only thing you don't have going for you is you don't have sex or fear to sell it. So you're on a big uphill battle by not using the classic easy ways out.
Well, I'm sure I've drummed up fear sometimes, not intentionally.
Like the coronavirus. Holy cow, I'm scared.
You know what's funny? Like, I don't know how to do Instagram story news as well, like perfectly. So sometimes I'm like, let me just do a little like recap page at the end of the edition and throw in a bunch of things. But like, I just put at the end of like a self-promotional post about my Eminem cover video that I hope gets thousands of views, but very well might not. But I'm seeing all these other covers for that song get thousands of views, so I'm like, ooh, I think I could do this as well. But the point is, I was promoting this clip, and like, I was like, oh, but I also should talk, and it's almost midnight, I also should talk about the coronavirus. I didn't really follow it very closely, but I saw that one death occurred that's reported outside of China now, which is in the Philippines.
Well, but here's the whole
I'm like,
thing.
if I was someone experiencing my news platform, I'm like, really? Thomas is just like going to put that in the little bottom left corner as if it's like,
and I get that. But here's the scary thing is, almost without a doubt that the CCP is lying about how many people have died from coronavirus, as they historically have with all tragedies. Yeah. And they were actually cracking down on people.
My dad strongly believes Japan swept a lot of Fukushima danger under the rug.
Yeah, I don't doubt it at all. It's this weird thing. And same with Russia with the movie that just came out, starts with a C, I think. Whenever I say it starts with this letter, it never starts with that letter. But in my head, it does. Chernobyl.
So 1 out of 26 chance.
Chernobyl did start with C.
Yes,
Chernobyl, they blew that under the rug as well. And, you know, like the whole rest of the world is like, why are we testing all this radiation here? And they're like, no problem over here. No problem, you guys. And then there was.
Right.
Was that Russia? Yeah, it was Russia.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway,
what do you think of this impeachment thing?
What do you think about nuclear energy? We're going a different direction.
I like it. I like it, man. Big fan. Couldn't be bigger.
Right. Okay. We could talk about nuclear energy and we can talk about impeachment. We got a cliffhanger now for the half of the audience that wants to hear the nuke talk versus the Trump talk.
Yeah.
I believe in nuclear energy. Yeah, absolutely. Especially if I learned about thorium in 2010, and that's a decade ago, and there hasn't been nearly, in my opinion, enough advancement and investment on that front, because thorium is incredibly safe relative to uranium or other, dangerous radioactive isotopes, is my understanding.
1,000%.
I'm not a scientist.
It's like as Naval Ravikant famously said, if the first plane crashed and they said, no more planes, or we have billions of dollars of restrictions to making the next iteration of planes. Like we're so many iterations past the nuclear power plants that did poorly that it's like we're stupid not to. I think it's just expensive.
Yeah.
But we should definitely be going toward it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, should we definitely be going toward impeaching the president and removing the president from office? Because that vote is going to happen very soon. I don't know when this episode is going to come out.
Oh, yeah.
I think that I'm guessing we'll talk more current events and I'll put it out actually pretty soon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Today's Super Bowl Sunday. I'm dressed in red. So it's Super Bowl Sunday, and tomorrow is the first Iowa caucuses.
Yeah, we got big stuff coming up. And Ty's over there.
And then for Bernie. At some point,
campaigning for Bernie.
Yeah.
I just spoke with his parents on the road. Hung out with
episode 151 guest.
Yeah, he's cool. I love that guy.
Amazing person.
He is.
Yeah. I don't know what day the Senate is going to vote on impeachment, but they voted to not allow more witnesses or any witnesses in the Senate trial.
Dude, the whole thing that the Democrats have been doing drives me crazy because they're pushing Trump to get reelected. They're firing his whole thing of like, oh, see, they just want us out. They'll do anything to get us out. And his whole fan base will be like, they are. It's like they should have just focused all their energy on making sure he doesn't get reelected. Like the year's almost, what is he going to do in 1 year, in like this last year? And Pence would do the same thing.
I mean, he's already done, I think one of the most understated impacts Trump has had, a lasting impact on our country, is through the judiciary system, from the Supreme Court and also through a whole host of federal courts that he's made a lot more conservative. And that's going to be the day-to-day, how people really live under the law is going to be impacted for generations probably to come.
Yeah.
And so, gosh, I made a statement on Humanity UG a long time ago that I wasn't going to cover the impeachment because of a whole host of reasons. One of them is that what they actually have moved forward and tried to get the president on is kind of small chips compared to a lot of the things that he's done that I think are impeachable.
Yeah.
But even then, I think the fact that they got him on something and there's hard evidence for it, is a good positive. It's like an unfortunate moral duty that they have as Congress, as a check on the power of the president to act, but knowing that their hand is tied behind their back by the Senate, and they're not going to be able to fully, pull this thing off as a removal from office. It's going to chalk up as a win for the president. And what you said. It's really interesting because Jimmy Dore was on Rogan, and Jimmy Dore
he brought up so many good points.
Jimmy Dore has a pretty powerful bank of knowledge and delivers it entertainingly, and those are things I value.
He gets a little too angry. Like you could tell Joe Rogan at some points would be like, okay, yeah, man, like calm down about it though. But yeah. It was great. I actually rewatched that episode twice. The most poignant thing that he said that really stuck with me is like, oh yeah, Trump has kids in cages. Obama built those cages. Like everything that Trump's doing, previous presidents have done. He's like, I hate Trump as much as the next guy, but he's not especially bad for a president. But I think Bernie will be the new wave to come in there, and like he is the next generation of president. I don't think anyone else shines a light to him except for, I'll give you, Yang and Tulsi. But everyone else running for president, both sides are just in the past.
what's happened with Tulsi's campaign to me is a serious reflection on how much the media, the elite sources of media in this country, which have tremendous power, are very aligned with the establishment Democrats.
100%.
And
that's not what we want.
before, I guess when I was a kid and in the 90s and early 2000s, I guess I could just be less aware of that.
Yeah.
Part of my insanity, and I have plenty of insanity, is stemming from the insanity of the world and the fact that as I get older,
you're old. What are you, 40?
26.
I'm kidding.
26.
As I get older, someone's in their 20s says.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm hype about my age because I'm running for mayor right now, and if I don't win, I'll run again, and then I might hopefully really win. Then I hope I win this time around, but I'm looking at like the infrastructure of winning this, and it's like I don't think I'm there, but I appreciate everybody like you who's been. I was one of the
founding people to get back behind you and support you.
Absolutely, I still consider you a direct part of the Humanity EUG thing. It's like, okay, here's part of what I think about with doing a project like this is it's not really a nonprofit. It's it might become one. I don't really know if eventually I would hire people, but it's like nothing gets taken seriously or credibly in this world unless it's like a business.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I told Rick Dancer about Humanity EUG, and he says, yeah, if that becomes a thing, he would be a part of it.
That's awesome. Yeah,
as a small thing.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, Rick will hopefully come on. He agreed to come on the show. I've just been just been so swamped and busy with doing 2 jobs.
That'll get you.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, man.
But I need to reach out and get. It's funny. I bumped into Kitty Piercy today, who, but she was eating at Lok Yaoun, a Chinese place, and she was literally just eating there, and she was with people and with her husband, and I straight up like just awkwardly made eye contact with the husband and kind of waved, and he didn't really know who I was, probably because of my beard.
That's funny. So you're filming a movie, or what's the beard for?
Oh, well, yeah, this is the Soybean character, man. I'm Soybean, the half-Jap rapper.
That's funny.
Yeah, Soybean, it doesn't even fully make sense to me, but I know that this character needs to exist, and I'm using this character to satirize a lot of things I don't like, wherever those things fall on the political or social spectrum.
Yeah.
So
cool.
So that's what it is. But I think so. Let's talk about Soybean for a little bit because there's so many places I almost want to go with this conversation, but I guess I haven't really explicitly explained this character much. But it's an embodiment of, I hope, self-awareness. Even when I'm trying to be self-aware, I probably stumble, and I probably am maybe self-aggrandizing in my attempt to be self-aware.
What's interesting,
because I do have an ego.
I call a lot of people self-aggrandizing. I don't think I've ever called you self-aggrandizing.
That's interesting.
I call it commonly. It's like one of my favorite insults that I call to people's faces because people need to hear it. Some people are self-aggrandizing.
Yeah, I feel like every time I'm posting on the internet and I'm like using a platform that I could be using to share, I don't know, the Australian bushfire crisis info, and instead I'm just like, oh, look at me rapping about like this head of lettuce at my sandwich shop. It's like, I don't know. I'm certainly a critic of my own self.
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, it's a weird thing where it's like, oh, I should be doing so much more, and it causes you to do nothing. So what you should really do is play the hand you're dealt. You're not living in some country where you're making $1 a day. You're not dead like 90% of humans who have ever lived. Like, you have a hand, and then whatever you make from that hand, you can then give back to the world. But it's not worth it to just be like giving it away before you make anything of it. But then again, you can take that so far. Like people like Jeff Bezos, like he made it to where he could have given back, and then he just keeps greedily trying to make more with the hand.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating to me how little he has donated to the bushfire crisis, for example. But then would you want to get to a place where you believe like, oh, okay, any major crisis that happens in the world, there's a moral expectation for really wealthy people to be donating to it?
Yeah, well, yeah, the weird thing about that is then it's like everyone's just like, oh, rich people, be generous. Like we're all surviving off the generosity of rich people. So no. I don't know. But here, I solidly believe that billionaires should exist. That's my second controversial idea. Are you against billionaires person?
Do I believe billionaires should exist?
That's like the most common
is
thing
like
I've heard a lot of
probably
people
no,
say.
but ultimately it's like with abortion. what role do I want the government to play in the prohibition of, individuals to succeed in shit or to
100%.
make decisions about their lives. And man, yeah, it's really fascinating. I love the United States of America. I really, really do. And I love the biggest thing about it that I love is the cultural opportunity. That's kind of a weird phrase, even as I say it now, cultural opportunity. But I don't love everything about the culture. But when you're in other nations around the world, there isn't as much of an expectation that diversity exists. And so we are compared a lot by like people who want socialist policies. We're compared a lot to Scandinavia, Sweden, Norway. Those countries deal with such a different and a smaller. It's like if Rhode Island was a country in a way. I guess that's a bad comparison.
Calling out Rhode Island on Less Stupid,
but it's really we have an obligation in this country to honor the diversity that we have, and that's like powerful and beautiful. And it makes us different. And that's the opportunity that I see with the different cultures we have here. But opportunities, when we talk about how flawed human beings are, they're rarely taken. Like I have the opportunity every day to make a Grammy winning hit song. And every single day I don't do it.
That's a crazy way to look at it, actually. Wow,
so there's a lot of heartbreak with this country, as well as joy and, again, opportunity.
Do you want to talk about the craziest thing ever? I learned it, and I've been bringing it up with every single person I speak with. Can I actually read it out? I don't have my phone. I do. Can I read it out loud to you? It'll blow your mind. Everyone listening, it'll blow y'all's mind. Sure. Okay, you ready for this? For the most life-changing thing.
This is great because on my show, phones are allowed.
Cool.
On your show, phones are not allowed.
No,
I had to turn it off and throw it onto the bed on the other side of the room practically.
Fun fact, some people have an internal narrative and some don't.
Yes.
As in some people's thoughts are the sentences they hear, and some people just have abstract nonverbal thoughts, like feelings and emotions that they have to decode.
They have to consciously verbalize.
Yeah. So which kind of person are you?
Absolutely the former.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah, and I can tell. I mean, I feel like words spill out of you.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. I mean, for me, I don't think that music would ever happen for me if it weren't for that element of my brain that
wordsmith.
See the wood chip. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do with the wood chip? I might build a house out of it. I don't know if this song is legit, but I'll keep going in a freestyle.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, is the beat wild? There is no beat playing on the mic because I'm with Tiger. We're doing it right. We're doing it live. Fucking thing sucks.
That's
Do you know
hilarious.
that reference?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. Bill O'Reilly got really mad about a teleprompter, and he didn't know what the phrase "to play us out" meant. Yeah, so I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah, two people watching this think I'm funny.
It's gotten to the point where I think I might have aphantasia, which is where you can't I don't really when I'm reading a book, I don't have a vivid mindscape, and when I'm meditating, I can't go into my mind's eye and stuff. I have almost no vivid imagery in my head, but I have very vivid dreams.
Aphantasia, could you explain or define that?
It's when you can't when you're reading a book, you don't see the characters and the locations that you're reading. And if I say, okay, think of a house. Do you think of do you have a picture of a house in your head, or do you just think of I know what generally a house is? Because some people say, oh yeah, I have a vivid imagery of a house in my head. And I'm like, well, where are you seeing? Are you seeing it overlaid in reality? And they're like, no, it's just in my head. And I'm like, maybe I have that, but I really don't think I do. 10% of people have aphantasia, apparently.
Wow.
So I may be one of them. Yeah. And that's why I can't draw. I can't do any drawing, sculpting, physical arts, because I just don't think I can visualize it. I'm all word human.
I think it's pretty difficult for me right now to make those kinds of distinctions, especially because I smoked my last weed an hour ago, and it's still kind of affecting my ability to keep up with you in this chat.
Oh, sorry. Your last weed is in.
Yeah, I'm taking a long sobriety break.
A sabbatical.
Or sobriety. Yeah, and a little intentional period of time where I'm not going to be doing any cannabis or drinking.
Try Kratom. I am the biggest advocate of Kratom in the world. It's the most addicting thing that'll dehydrate the heck out of you, but god damn, it feels good.
That's you just completely picked 2 points that are not selling points.
No, I know. That was the,
but I guess
that was
that's
the joke
honesty.
of it all.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's very addicting. It's dehydrating, but like
What does it do that's positive?
euphoria, so much euphoria. Imagine no anxiety or stress or anything, and you just feel good. Your body feels good, your mind feels good, and you say, God damn, I feel good. It's like what I want weed, caffeine, and alcohol to be, the best of all of those together, with the only downside is if you do it all the fucking time like I do, it's dehydrated. Can I curse?
Sure, absolutely.
It's dehydrating.
Yeah, dude, I'm a free speech advocate.
Everything. Ooh,
Yeah.
you're all right. See, I throw that term around lightly because no one ever describes himself as alt-right.
I just think that there's a lot of hypocrisy in the world. I'm sure I'm a part of it and I try not to be, but like that tendency that you're annoyed by, you're then doing because you're annoyed by the tendency of, oh, like I hate that people immediately smear me as all right for having a little bit of a right perspective on something.
It's a joke.
But
I don't hate
you
anyone.
are saying that these people immediately smear you into being all right, but they may be, I don't know.
No one calls me alt-right. No one calls me alt-right. But no one's ever called me alt-right except for myself jokingly.
Here's what might happen. You see views online that are alt-right. You know how terribly, how vicious the rhetoric is against those views. And then you see those views and you're like, I expected, a trash can full of rotten tomatoes.
Yes.
And there was actually a little bit of ripeness still on one of these tomatoes in the trash can.
Yeah.
So then you're sympathizing with it a little bit.
I don't think there's a little bit of ripeness. I think they bring up a lot of good points, but I also think the left brings up a lot of good points. I think both sides are incredibly persuasive to the point where if I were to listen to one side for 10 days straight, I would believe that side, and I listen to the other side for 10 days straight, I would switch my view, which is why I got to listen to both and stay in the center.
They do have sort of self-reinforcing networks that make themselves especially persuasive within their community and especially susceptible to being like, yeah, everything you're going to get on Fox News is incorrect. That's not true. I mean,
That's kind of true. Fox News is pretty bad, pretty culprit.
I mean, the problem with mainstream corporate news is it's more to me about selection than it is about factual honesty.
Yeah.
So what they choose to report on, and of course how they spin it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all I'm saying is that like I actually think if there's a responsible way to consume Fox News, I guess that I advocate for that to be a portion of a person's life if they want to be connected with, I don't know, American news media.
Yeah. You're the only news station I watch aside from Reddit, and Joe Rogan's kind of news.
That's scary because then when I don't report on shit, I'm like
Reddit lets me know
there's a
everything.
responsibility to. Oh, that's true. Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, my shows, I famously started calling it the Tiger Gruber's Misinformation Hour.
Okay. Right on.
Because I'll just be truthful with it. Like I say, I enjoy conversation. I have like really fun, entertaining conversations, but they might not be 100% accurate. Oh, kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think.
Well, yeah. Free speech, I think, is a great thing, and I'm interested to see if anybody eventually challenges me on that.
Yeah.
Because mostly the people I bring up the fact that I like free speech to are people who are right-leaning or...
you wouldn't bring it up to a far-left person.
I mean, it depends. But...
Well...
Like juggalos are a really interesting example of people, and I've been meaning to bring it up. You said Kratom was like total euphoria, no anxiety, no stress. I'm like, yeah, dude, I just go to an ICP show. That's exactly what I feel. Because I'm around other people who are 100%. Like-minded and have been shit on in the world, or at least 100%. Identify with the idea of being shit on.
Yeah, no, I believe everything you can experience through a drug, you can experience through real life. Real life things. I'm so excited to go to a 10-day.
That can't be true.
100%.
Really?
What can't you? Altered states of mind, different like flashing lights and colors in your head, and altered perceptions of time. Absolutely, you can experience all those through extreme flow states, meditation, euphoria, like sex and stuff.
I mean, I just feel like, okay, though, if there's a person, see, I don't advocate for everybody trying cannabis, but again, like if you want to be like making policy decisions about cannabis, you should have like a fair amount of what 100%. It does, etc. So, and most people want to weigh in on the world and the state of drug policy at some point in their lives.
Have to try meth and heroin to make laws on meth and heroin?
That's an interesting question, man.
Cops have to try every drug?
It doesn't grow in the ground.
Heroin absolutely does.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, but not in the way that it's consumed.
Ephedra grows in the ground, and poppies grow in the ground.
Yeah, when I ate a poppy seed muffin, I did not do heroin in the sense that,
alcohol doesn't grow in the ground. It's not the way it's consumed. They have to make it. And
Sure.
and I would argue the same with.
You're right. No, I mean,
like everything. Everything's just more.
You're a nitpicky
intense.
person, and that's the problem with me liking free speech. Is sometimes I got to deal with these nitpicky people.
I'm a nitpicker, especially on my show. I don't let anyone even say 2 words. I'm the interrupting king.
I love it.
Queen.
I love it. See, I feel like I don't even have to do anything here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to let you be the captain, but I'm so used to. I mean, I've gotten 75 shows recorded now.
I feel like when we've been talking about how you're a musician, it's been tongue in cheek because
I'm a musician. I have like 700 monthly views.
But I already
listeners.
feel like I was thinking about on the way here. I'm like, what is my podcast? Well, I like to have conversations with people from all across different walks of life. That I think I'm getting done, hopefully. But honestly, there needs to be more diversity of gender, as I've talked to you about, and you nudged your way into the show. Even though I was like, dude, let me get some more women.
Are you attacking me right now?
See, this is the thing that every high schooler every high school teacher has had to deal with.
Yeah.
It's the behavior. I'm not saying with 100% certainty that what you're doing is in bad faith.
You have a beard and you go by different pronouns.
It's true.
So
I'm doing it for a character. But
I love things on my butt. Can I go by?
Yeah, but I got some toenail polish on too. So let's go.
Look at this. Look at my hand.
Just a ring or what? Oh, the leopard print?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Hold
I'm
that
like
up
on
to the camera kind of.
It's just henna. I actually have it all over, but it's kind of coming off. But
it's that kind of show now.
The point is,
what if I did a show in the nude with somebody who was interested in that?
I think a lot of people would be very uncomfortable. Oh, like naked, like all your bits are under.
Well, I'm just thinking
do your
about,
nipples
like,
become?
okay.
Can
this
super
is something
quick joke.
I've thought about a lot because I used to smoke a lot of weed. I'm trying to not smoke as much weed.
Yeah.
So now I'm pretty much cutting cold turkey. But my point is, you smoke a lot of weed, overthink a lot of stuff. This happens to psychedelics in general. And I think a lot about the rules of society, especially as a half Japanese person and a half Oregonian American person. Those are very, very different views about what authority, the relationship between authority, power, and the rules that we all live under. Mm-hmm. So, for example, on my mom's side of the family, those things are all one and the same: authority and power and the rules that we live under. My dad's recognition of the world is authority exists over there, which is like the cops and the lawyers and the courts and the military or whatever. Power is something that every individual has, and people can come together and combine their power and have more power to make change. But the rules that we live under are literally whatever the fuck we want. So like you just took your shirt off somewhat.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't know why there's an instinct to be uncomfortable with that because great, now somebody has taken their shirt partially off on my show.
That's cool. I wish someone did on my show.
Right. But why am I uncomfortable with that?
I don't know.
I don't feel like I need to be in this.
You're uncomfortable with my feminine body. Is that it?
God damn it.
Here's the thing. If you identify as she, her, and then you post a picture of yourself shirtless to Instagram, do they have to blur your nipples or do they have to take it down? That's a woman's nipples.
They generally don't, I think. Yeah.
Okay, is that bigoted or is that sexist on their end? Or is that transphobic, should I say? Like there's such a unique sphere of things that haven't been figured out.
If we're going to talk about the nipples, dog, then the only fair solution from a real policymaking perspective is for Facebook and you're writing
or ban male nipples, but so I think all nipples should be freed. Mm-hmm. Who's this hurting? It's just this weird old Christian, not Christian, I'm not calling it Christians, this old who are those people who are like, oh, everyone's going to hell?
Evangelists?
Yeah, evangelists.
Evangelicals?
Like, evangelical thing like, oh, pleasure is bad.
But even then, I got evangelical homies, they don't feel like they're accurately represented by the idea that they think everybody's all going to hell.
No. But there's a general idea. Like there's a general idea.
I fight for nuance sometimes too much.
There's the general idea that pleasure is something like you shouldn't be having premarital sex and have fun and drugs and stuff. Like old religious tenets tends to go about against like just fun and pleasure. Is my understanding. I could be wrong. Please don't come kill me. But so I'm like, I don't think we should live under that. I think drugs should be legalized, as your main man Andrew Yang supports.
Yeah, dude.
That's the coolest thing.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I try to be big picture as well as, I get excited about people I get excited about. And I love Andrew Yang, but I'm just interested to see how the next few months go because it feels more and more like we kind of have to have all hands on deck for Bernie.
And they're tearing each other apart. They're trying to tear up Bernie. What Warren did to Bernie was like, I knew I was against her, but now...
It was the single most disappointing moment of the entire primary to see the way that story was pushed out there.
Yeah, it absolutely seems like Warren and CNN were in cahoots, or whoever put on the debate.
It's very frustrating. Well, yeah, because of the fact that they literally just asked Bernie if that's what he said, and then turned to Warren and acted like it didn't matter what Bernie just said.
The fact that it was said.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, he's a cis white male. You can't trust them. I hate cis white men.
Are you going to keep doing this?
I don't know. I think you asked me, Mike. I thought we were going to have a fun show, and you're like, "What's your most controversial opinion?" I'm like, "All right, if we're gonna have a controversial show." But here's the thing: I respect the hell out of you.
Okay, but here's what it builds up. You. I appreciate that. Yeah. But what it builds up to is it amounts to the perception that you genuinely think that cis white men are oppressed in some way.
No, I don't believe people should identify themselves as cis.
Because that's what you're voicing is like, oh yeah, a cis white male, their opinion doesn't matter.
These are terms that I've heard people say and seen tweeted out from Reddit accounts that weren't banned, or weren't tweets that weren't taken down. It's opinions people have that I think they're bad opinions. I absolutely don't think white men are oppressed, but I think it's a dumb opinion to say like, oh, white men shouldn't have opinions on anything. I'm like, well, that's racist and sexist right there.
Yes.
That's my opinion.
I think that okay, there's a couple things happening. One is the conversation. Angry. No, it's cool. You're allowed to get angry. This is actually a safe space for passionate displays of anger.
Beautiful.
Done respectfully. So everybody's talking in the same room on Twitter, but they're not all having the same conversation. So it's easy for you to see. Good way of saying it. Yeah, it's so easy for you to see a tweet and think, "Oh wow, this is a permissible thing that like thousands of people are liking or retweeting," or and maybe you feel like cis white men are really getting the short end of this particular moment. But dude, I think that where that's coming from, the vast majority of the time is. Cis white men are speaking up a lot, maybe disproportionately in my philosophy lecture class. Maybe
you're in school right now?
No, I'm just saying. I'm speaking hypothetically. But also they, we don't need to hear from them in spaces that are designed in the explicit interest of, let's say, women of color. Or like trans women of color. There are lots of communities where those people exist, and those people are defined. You would hopefully say not by choice, especially with the of color thing. But if you think that, yeah, I mean, you can't really argue that. Yeah, so when white men have their opinions and they want to pop off their opinions about those particular issues, that I think is where you get a lot of that pushback. I hope that you don't believe that there's like a rising tide that really doesn't think that any white men can speak out about.
No, I don't have any strong beliefs, but I'm just saying, replace what you just said. Please don't take me out of context here.
But what you're about to do is falsely equivocate.
When trans black women pop off about issues that relate to my life, blank, blank, when you say in genders and races, that's being sexist and racist. I get that you're trying to undo hundreds of years of stuff and make all these things, but it's like
the positions that we're in society are different. Positionality.
There's immensely more Asian men than there are white men. There's immensely more billionaires that are Asian men than white men. It's just you happen to be in a place in the world that you're not the majority. So.
There are more billionaires that are Asian men than there are billionaires that are white men.
There's 2 billionaires made in China every year, every week. Wow. It was on a Vox Explained video on YouTube, on Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix Vox Explained billionaires. It may be bigger, but they have like an unbelievable amount of billionaires, even though they're communist. I don't get it.
Our president of the U.S., whatever you think about him, he is shaking in his boots about China being the leading economic force of the world, which it looks like that's what's going to happen. They're going to become the number one economy in the world. And if there's anything that people like about Trump, there are actually people who like a lot of things about Trump, so I don't want to be too reductive. But he is very egotistical, and part of that I think fires him up to want to do to accomplish his policy agenda is his ego, right?
Yeah,
and so
100%.
he would be probably devastated if China took over as the economic force
Yeah.
of the world, in his tenure. So at least I guess he's working for that.
Working to keep poor people poor. It's a joke. It's a joke. But no, it's a really weird thing going on. I don't think China's going to overtake us, the U.S.
I guess when I look at these issues, the biggest thing that I focus on is ultimately education and youth's ability to chart a better future, because our generation has entirely inherited shit. That's what that's
Disagree.
in terms of, because we do have a pretty easy life in many metrics, and I can
easy, yeah.
I can
Soccer,
get some
cool.
pretty good food that heats up pretty quick and is pretty
Cheap and
delicious.
easy.
But I would say, when I look at the economic and political history of the country, in the 80s, we had Reagan and Bush, which scared the real left of the country, what left existed, so much that they nominated Bill Clinton to be the hero of liberalism. And that was a terrible idea, because it allowed Bill Clinton to kind of be a sock puppet of restoring some sense that we are fighting for the working person. And, meanwhile, NAFTA ruins that. And it's been a mess. And it's felt like turmoil for our whole life in the political system. And so what I don't want to happen is that all young people just distract themselves with TikTok. I
got TikTok recently. You call me young?
Yes.
TikTok's
You're
fun.
younger than me.
I had to stop using TikTok because there's so many women who dress up and wear stuff, and then I'm like, these are more than likely under 18, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna close off TikTok, and then I haven't used it since the first day I had it.
There you go.
But I used it for a day. I'm like, oh, these are funny videos. These are funny dance videos and stuff.
Skews
I'm like,
young, but there will always be new
sus.
platforms that will come out that will appeal to the younger mini generations. I feel like generations are just they're speeding up.
Yeah, it's every 2 to 4 years, every high school.
Because they'll have pretty distinct experiences from one another.
Yeah, I agree. Time is speeding up.
But okay, the foundation of the democracy we live on comes from what? The Greeks. I feel like it's the Greeks or the Romans.
I have no idea.
I messed that up.
I have no idea. It's funny. So I call you dude. You're okay with that?
But those old Western philosophers, it all ties back to them. But here's my point. We have been walking down this path that, as it's been set forward, essentially. But I hope we are reaching a precipice where we have such a technological opportunity to redefine society that we do it in a way that accounts for the ethical failures of the past and just charts a better way forward. And the only way that I can really be sure that that's going to happen is if we really have the informed public that we need. So we need better news media, and we need better education.
100%.
And
oh yeah, absolutely. And free education. We do not need
if I was younger, if I was a Zoomer, I feel like I would be even more anxious and more of a mess than I am.
Yeah. I think they want you to be anxious and depressed. I mean, that's Dan Carlin's new book, The End is Always Near. We're always meant to feel that way, so we always buy more stuff and live. It's fine. Everything's going okay. I
heard Dan Carlin on national NPR the other day, and I was like, hey, Eugene, let's go.
Represent.
Yeah. Oh.
I'd love to have him on my show. Speaking of, I tried to get the coach of a football team on my show, and of all the days, I asked him if he'd be down to come on the show.
The head coach of the Ducks?
No, not the head coach of the Ducks. He was the defensive coach of the Ducks.
Okay, got it.
If he'd be down to come on Super Bowl weekend. He's
cool.
like, no, it's Super Bowl weekend. And I'm like, oh, I'm dumb. So now he probably knows I don't watch football.
Got it.
Which is a bummer. But yeah, those are pretty much all my controversial views. But here's the thing. Here's why it's so beautiful that I think we should be able to talk about our controversial views is I still respect you as a person, and I respect that you hopefully have an open space for me to say my views that are different than yours.
Sure.
I don't think I'm steamrolling you, and I think you have your viewers can definitely pick to I don't even think I've been making convincing cases for any of my arguments. I just bring them up because I'm like, these are things that I've felt. I don't necessarily have strong points to counter everything to them, but
Right. Well, I do have a tendency to go into things with a debate mentality, and what I like about your show Let's talk a little bit about your show to
Talks with
to
Tiger.
get into that. Absolutely. Is that you just decidedly want it to be a conversation. I don't think you want it to be an interview. I don't think that you want it to be a debate most of the time, but you and I have kind of
We had
challenged that
the one
convention.
debate on my
Yeah,
show.
we
I
did.
liked it.
We did. It
Had a
was
blast,
fun.
yeah.
It was super fun.
Yeah.
So then this is an existential question that I have with my show. Is my show doing anything? Like, is this a valuable thing? And what do you think is the value that your show is providing in the world?
My show?
Yeah.
I think
These conversations.
people are lonely and uninformed, and they're sick of where they're being informed from. I think it's a way for people to hear voices outside of their average people. Even if it's more like me, two white guys talking, they're still hearing people that they wouldn't have normally talked to. But I have tons of people of different races and genders and ethnicities come on my show. I think it's just
It's true. You, for somebody who doesn't seem to actively espouse diversity as a goal, you have had a very diverse cast of people on your show.
Thank you, and I love and respect everyone. But it's hard to find purely because of sheer numbers. Like there's less people of some ethnicities, so I think just by number, like if in Oregon isn't it like 2%
Have you ever
of
thought
people here
about
are
like
black?
Skype chatting with people?
Yeah, I've done 2 actually.
Oh, okay, right on. Okay, cool.
I didn't like them as much as in person.
Yes,
though.
it is definitely
I mean,
different.
we're playing footsie right now. I can't do that over Skype. I don't like it as much.
Hey, I still got pink toenails up here, man.
So I don't necessarily know if my show's brought value, but I think it just, I'm actually thinking of changing the name of my show from Great Conversations with Even Better People. And the impetus of that was originally Dope Conversations with Dope People. And then I'm like, I'm going to change it to be a little better. But I'm going to change it to Conversations that make you less anxious and depressed by making you happier, healthier, and wealthier. Just something fun like that.
I actually love that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Cool. I think so that's what I'm probably going to change it to before like my next episode or 2.
Well, one thing that I love about watching, like being a student of culture, American culture, that's my bachelor's degree. It was in American Studies.
Yeah.
Is like, you know, your title. I think it is snappy,
Oh, happy.
even though it's long.
Yeah.
And-
Most people still call it Tiger Talks.
Oh, interesting.
I'm like, fuck.
Okay. But the full title that you just said, it was like Conversations about being happy and wealthy.
Oh,
and,
not title. Not title. Title's Talks with Tiger.
oh, okay.
You mean? Wait, you think I'd change the name?
Was
to
it a tagline?
Yeah, the tagline or like the description
okay.
of the show.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I like long taglines. I'm rolling out my campaign slogan soon, which
Nice.
is not humanity and tough truths anymore.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's silly.
So it's
but
just
it's
a hat now.
yes, it is. But well, this is still humanity and tough truths because the truths are a part of it.
Yeah.
But I believe in having stronger roots, truths, and youths. That's
Ooh,
all
I
it
like
is.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a really good one.
I think that as I've come through the process of really figuring out what I'm running on and what I'm trying to advocate for, youth mental health is really right there.
I'm 100% supportive of that. I think that's incredible that you're doing that.
Okay, cool.
I've noticed a lot of similarities between you and Yang in terms of like he has all his pillars or
Dude, humanity first as a okay
Tenet and pillar of
honestly,
his campaign.
I really believed weeks ago that Yang would be our president more than I do believe it now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to. Even I had Mandy Chappell, Eugene mayoral candidate, on here, episode 154, and she was like, "Dude, he's not out of it. He's not out of it." Because I was like making it sound like I'd kind of given up on him, but it's just like having seen a lot of election cycles and the possibility being so slim with him. Bernie is a strong candidate. It's not like Yes, he is.
it's not like it's just Yang and then it's all Biden Jr. or like a different Biden, Warren, and another Biden. It's like he is against another kind of like person who's breaking boundaries, like Bernie, and Bernie's just like more in it, I think. So I think if he was against a bunch of traditional people like Biden's, I think he would have a really strong chance.
Well, this is another example of of kind of what I was saying before about how this new generation can chart a new path forward in the country and in the world. And it's pretty exciting because, okay, Hillary Clinton is somebody that I have complicated feelings about. I've taken a lot of shit from people on both sides for having admiration for Hillary Clinton, but I've also, especially recently, as she's just continued to openly shit on Bernie,
And Tulsi, she called Tulsi a Russian asset.
yeah, it was
I'm like,
completely
what
absurd.
are you talking about?
Yeah, and it was really sad because she's still salty about how she supported Bernie in 2015, and She actually made a really principled move to leave as the vice chair of the DNC in order to endorse Bernie in that movement. And here's my thing. The Democratic Party is an institution, and it's like any institution.
It's founded on the patriarchy and white supremacy. I'd have guessed who would make that point for everyone, until the point where by the end I guessed it. And I was like, you know what? But he made such convincing points that I'm like, you know what? It kind of is.
I mean,
most all institutions.
Another thing with history, dude, it's like that's largely true.
Yeah, it's largely true. But I had to concede.
Exactly. And but if you're looking at history with that lens in mind, that's going to be especially true. If you're looking at history with the lens of finding, I don't know, appreciation for the collectivist normalcy idea that it was in the 50s, I guess, and the 60s. A lot of people now would say, well, they define that normalcy against people of color and against the queer community. And so it wasn't, it was kind of a hollow unity that existed then. But if you were focusing on like a lot of business development and a lot of infrastructural development in this country happening, then I guess you could be happy about it. But that's the thing with history too. I mean, we need to have historians who robustly know what they're talking about more than I do.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Talking with people who are robustly educated about different shit. I mean, that's actually kind of why I like Bill Maher's show. Is Joe Rogan doesn't like Bill Maher's show because people
that was
talk
so
over.
Funny of an ending, wasn't it? Did you listen to the end of the show where Bill Maher's like, "You should come on"? He's like, "Oh yeah, no."
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Well, eventually he would, but he wanted to make sure that it was a one-on-one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Let's see if he goes on.
Okay, yeah,
I don't think he will.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
That'll be funny. Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I like Bill Maher too, man.
Yeah,
he's a cool guy. He listening to him on Rogan's persuaded me because I originally didn't like him. Mm-hmm. He was just too. He's self-aggrandizing. I would say he's self-aggrandizing.
I think that I empathize with people who virtue signal because I'm sure I'm probably virtue signaled in my own way.
I virtue signal. Because everyone does.
I'm getting antsy now from being on the show with you, and we're going down the line and naming all these people who are controversial to the far left. Because I love the far left. I kind of am the far left.
Bill Maher isn't far left. I thought he was very far left.
Well, yes, but he really wants to push Klobuchar down.
I don't know who that even is.
Our collective. He wants Amy Klobuchar to be the president. And I've met Amy Klobuchar. I like Amy Klobuchar. I don't want her to be the president that succeeds Trump. I don't think that that's going to be good for the large-scale progressive change that I want to see happen in this country to make the country more fair.
That's a good way to word it. You don't have to put the show out if you don't want. If you don't want to be seen next to an alt-right ad. No, I'm kidding. And I'm not. But here's the thing, man. I really do think it's important for there to be diversity in voices. I'm not all right. I'm voting for Bernie. I advocate for Bernie. But I just think that everyone paints people immediately. Like Jordan Peterson is not all right. Sam Harris is definitely not all right. I was starting to think of... And Joe Rogan's not all right.
I don't even think of the phrase alt-right very much. I think of intellectual dark web.
Oh, yeah. But those people... Here's the thing. I would say Ben Shapiro is probably alt-right. I don't even know. He's just obnoxious as shit. I don't like that guy. But and also Eric Weinstein. I hate that guy. Brett Weinstein's dope. But most of the IDW is called alt-right, but a lot of them aren't. Like Sam Harris just has strong views against the religion of Islam, which is another one of my controversial views. He's not alt-right. Joe Rogan definitely isn't alt-right. Just because he had Milo on his show doesn't make him alt-right.
I almost want to talk about Islam, but I just don't know how much we have to contribute to that conversation.
We don't.
Sometimes it's good to just know your lane.
Yeah, burn their books. That's it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not just going to throw that out there as the only thing. Here's the thing. My best friend, if you take his heritage back, he's from Pakistan. He's my best friend, aside from Kenzie. She's my best friend. But literally my best friend who comes on the show, love the guy. But I think Islam needs to go through their awakening and realize that you can't kill gay people and your wife if she cheats on you and stuff like that. Like, there just needs to be changes made. There's changes made to everything. There needs to be a change made. So
I don't know what I can contribute to this conversation about Islam once again. I mean,
wait, do you feel like you're always...
because I just let you say that. I mean, would you acknowledge that there is an especially stringent scrutiny that's applied to Islamic doctrine that's violent that we don't see applied to the other Western religions?
No, I actually don't.
You don't think so?
No, I think if you look at the Old Testament, which I also think was changed, they went through the Enlightenment. They have the New Testament now. But yeah, if you look at the Old Testament, it's pretty bad. But it's not as bad as your prophet fucking, like, you know, I'm not even going to get way into it. No, I think it is genuinely way worse, word for word. I mean, their prophet is a warmonger who says if you die fighting, you get to go have 72 virgins. Here's the thing. People fighting Islamic places right now, they have a lot of women soldiers because if you die to a woman in Islam, you don't go to the good place. So they do it almost as just like a screw you. I'm like, that's hilarious.
Wow.
I learned it from, there's a video of like a girl sniper and a bullet rarely misses her head. And she's like, holy cow. And then there's a bunch of comments on why there's a lot of women soldiers fighting in the Middle East. It's a crazy thing. I don't like having controversial views though. I almost don't even want to have.
You're a podcast host.
They're good. They're good at sparking conversation.
I feel like that's true. It is true.
But in reality, I don't have any of these views in my free time. I'm just a chill, free-loving guy who doesn't define himself. I just like eating food and existing.
Ooh, doesn't define himself, I see.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Themselves.
Noted.
It's not proper grammar to say I don't define themselves.
I was having a chat with someone the other day about they are versus they is, and she really believes in they is to refer to a singular person who is doing something.
Yeah, it's way more sense. Thomas is instead of Thomas are. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Who would ever say that?
Right, but if you weren't using the word Thomas, like if you were just using they
is. They are. Oh, that makes sense because then it's the singular of they. That's cool. Well, that's progress from they are.
Okay.
You're talking about a group of people if you say they are. They is really smart. Whoever brought that up, props. 100% props.
Cool. So you're with they is.
Yeah, they is.
All right,
that's cool.
Because even when I was in college, and I went to one of the most liberal, progressive colleges in the country.
Yeah.
And I was close friends with a lot of the activist people until there were too much. There was a lot of stuff happened that didn't lead to us being as close of friends anymore. But even then, we weren't using they is. We were using they are.
They is like updating grammar. They are just doesn't make sense. You can't make it plural and singular, but they is makes they singular. I mean, hypothetically. Like I'm saying, grammar could update to make that make sense. But, they are, maybe it makes sense. I just think of that as a group of people. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm so excited for my 10-day silent meditation retreat. I'm going to just Zoom.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's free.
Well,
it's
you
free.
have a lot of your kinesiology degree.
Yeah.
And so you probably have some cool knowledge about wellness that I don't. Do you want to share any stuff?
Yeah.
I do try to tailor these chats to what a person, is passionate about.
This is what I would have liked.
We haven't talked that much about your music, and we haven't talked about
my books.
Kinesiology.
I never gave you my book. And I have a screenplay out now, too.
Yes, you do.
Which is also published as a book. Okay, so if you want to be healthy, you can work out all you want, but you need to walk every day, preferably an hour, and you will be healthy. Not if you work out and then you sit the rest of the day and you work out for 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours. You need to walk every day, at least an hour, preferably 2. You need to walk. And then if you're going to have any supplements, collagen. Collagen's the one over protein powder, which is it is kind of protein powder, but it's just better for your ligaments and joints and stuff. Outside of that, I take vitamin C. I don't think it does anything, but I like the taste of it. It's ascorbic acid. It's what they put on like Sour Patch Kids and stuff. So I just enjoy taking vitamin C. And I think the placebo of it makes me feel better for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much the only thing you need to do is walk a lot, drink collagen.
Okay.
And that's it.
Where do people get collagen?
Anywhere. I get it from Costco. It's the cheapest there.
Okay.
But I'm sure you can just get bulk collagen anywhere. And aside from that, deadlift. I don't really squat or do most any exercises. If you want to get healthy and you're willing to exercise, just deadlift. If you ever see people and they just look weak and feeble, it's probably because they don't deadlift because they just have like a back that goes straight into their leg. They don't have a butt, which is like the hinge of your body. It's like where a lot of your keeps you up. And if you sit all day and you never work it out, and like you can hurt yourself squatting, but you're not going to hurt yourself deadlifting. You just drop the fucking weight. So big advocate of deadlifting, collagen, walks. And I've been playing around with sleeping on the ground. I really like it. Not everyone's probably going to like it, but I've done it for a couple weeks now.
Directly on the floor, pretty much?
Directly on the floor, on a carpet. I just wear clothes. Except when Kenzie comes over, she won't do it. So I do still have a bed on the ground.
It's got to be somewhat of a soft carpet, though. Not like this tile carpet we're laying on now, or?
No, but it's not like shag. It's probably a centimeter.
Yeah.
But no, it hurts the first 2 nights.
Yeah.
And then you get really used to it. And then you start waking up easier and just sleeping better. It's like a deep tissue massage. And eventually your body's like, oh, cool, we're good. We don't really have as many things anymore.
Yeah.
Aside from that, for mental, I guess I obviously can't speak to the half of people that don't have an internal monologue. But if you have an internal monologue, one, psychedelics have helped me out a lot. Kratom Hill's helped me out a lot. And just thinking things to the end. If you think, hey, I'm going to kill myself, think it through to the end. Think, why would I want to kill myself? What would be the repercussions? Don't stop at it. I'm going to kill myself. No, I can't think about that. And then you keep having the ideation because you can't rationally. I can bring it all the way to the rational end. I'm like, oh, that is not an outcome, preferable outcome. It's just like thinking, oh, I could jump out that window right now or swerve into traffic, which everyone has, the call avoid. It's just you can come to the, oh, no, I don't want that. That would hurt a lot. And then, people would be sad. Come to the conclusions for all the thoughts you have. Don't stop any of them. You're allowed to think about anything, murdering, dying, killing yourself, anything. You can think about it. Just come to the end and conclusion why, if it's a bad thing, why it's bad. You need to develop your own ethics if you want to be happy and peaceful mentally. That's how to be happy and healthy. I don't know how to be wealthy. I'm still working on it.
I think one of the most powerful things for day-to-day mental health and self-worth is integrity, because
good point.
You've got some of these people who maybe they are very narcissistic or sociopathic to the point where they don't care that they don't have integrity.
I'm right here, man. I'm right here. No, I'm kidding.
But I think most people, if you are really trying to be an environmentalist, but you work at McDonald's and you know that the McDonald's is like pretty bad for the issues that you care about, you're not going to be day to day all that happy with going to work and spending your time there. But I've tried to take integrity really far. Yeah. I was like, man, now it's 2019. I was making this decision about my next vehicle. I wanted to have a car, and I really wanted to try to get an electric car, even though it was maybe beyond my means.
You made it happen.
It did make it happen.
I'm proud of you, man. That's cool.
I don't have a home, but I so that's been the struggle, but that's been a little bit of a separate issue as well, because the home that I expected to be able to have, I was kind of pulled out of. But anyway, yeah, and I was like thinking about how, I don't make that much money, and I never have made very much money. And so when I do, I want to be really intentional about where I go and put that money and 100%. Pass it along into the rest of this big floating swimming pool of an economy that we're in. And, my tiny little puddle over here, I'm going to try to do good things with it. So I really try to only put money in things that I support.
Do you have rich people plans, like rich people dreams of like, oh, I have so much money, I'm going to invest in young people like who are 20 just now finding an idea. I want to help them make music or something. That's what I dream about doing.
I'm not like that many steps out, because my thing is that if I can blow up as a rapper, which I want to probably try to make a bunch of like cheap ass like viral attempts at videos.
Put them on TikTok. Film them upright and put them on TikTok. I mean, I have a friend who went on here. He got 6 million views because of TikTok. Jeez. From just a little stupid ass video. Seriously, TikTok is organic. Every video I've posted, I've gotten close to 1,000 views. I have no followers on TikTok. If they were good, they'd get more. So TikTok is the way to do that. Seriously. Film it upright.
Yeah. Okay.
If you start posting those every couple days on TikTok, you will get large. I guarantee it, without a doubt in my mind.
Well, I've certainly made for me, an aspect ratio shift from horizontal to vertical video was a long and powerful and challenging thing, because just like Childish Gambino in 2013, because the internet even has like a bit about it. He's like, you got to hold it horizontal, man. My N-word, hold it horizontal, man. Because he just didn't like that people were filming stuff vertically. But then now, like the infrastructure of the world is just changing.
It is.
And we do view like the proportion of the time that we spend on vertical screens compared to horizontal screens is probably shifting really quickly.
Yeah. So, a super funny personal anecdote of this.
But then the square videos are kind of annoying for anything long. I mean, they're just meant to be like as good as possible on either screen, and it's usually the big black bars with a clickbaity thing and maybe some cry laugh emojis. Yeah. But I'll probably do it at some point.
That's funny. Yeah. And when I went to Kauai, I filmed it all upright because I was expecting a 15-minute video, and I got over an hour of video. So I'm like, shit, and I condensed it down to a fun 3-minute video. I don't know if you saw it, but
I don't think I did.
Oh, it's on my Instagram. For anyone who wants to see a fun video with Devendra Banhart playing in the background, it's on my Instagram.
Nice.
Not tigergruber.com. No. It's so I'm starting to film stuff upright. And my first short film, Breakfast of Champions, was filmed upright.
Okay, right on.
And then I've since started doing things sideways because it's fun to watch something on like a TV, like a big screen.
Yes.
But I'm definitely going to play it up
That
both
to
ways.
me is like longer form stuff. Anything above
5 minutes.
Gosh, yeah, I would even.
2 minutes.
I'd go
3
8.
minutes.
I've gone in my. well, I mean, I'd
interesting.
sit in my car and I, just brought my phone up on my steering wheel while I'm chilling, and
Nice.
I'll watch an 8-minute video or whatever. But longer than that, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not going to
Hey,
do it.
did people who bought Series 1 Teslas, didn't they get free charging for life? So if you got a Series 1 Tesla, you could have a home and free charging
Free
for
unlimited
life.
supercharging. Yeah,
That's crazy.
I'm
Not
glad
you
you,
Tesla
I'm
people,
glad you
right?
brought that up because you know what song I listened to twice on the way here.
Soul by Tiger Guru?
No, Don't Doubt Your Vibe by Elon EDM Musk.
That's so funny, dude. That's hilarious. I love that guy. He's hilarious.
I genuinely really adore Elon Musk.
Me too.
Yeah, I really, really am a fan of him.
yeah.
And our friend Brandon Davis, he brought me along on the Elon Musk thing a long time ago because I didn't even know what Tesla was for a long time.
Yeah.
I just knew it was kind of like this, high end kind of futuristic car, and that made me feel like, okay, that's probably not going to be anything I would afford or want.
Yeah.
But knowing how deep his plans are to make the transportation economy like actually live up to the year that we're in, that I think is pretty positive.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that guy. We're over an hour. How long do your shows normally go?
I've been hitting close to 2 hours before, but maybe we'll go for another 15-20 minutes.
Beautiful. I'm glad we should have not started with
what I saw
controversial
on the-
topics. You can't start with controversial topics with me because I have the most controversial topics in the world.
True. Well, I don't know what this show is, but especially because I'm kind of a traveler, I don't have like a home base to bring everybody through the same experience.
Yeah.
But I've tried to. What I like about podcasts is they often do give a similar experience, like for all the people that come in, and so like listeners have the same sort of comparison they can make. It's
Totally.
like what's it like for Tulsi to be on? I keep thinking of Rogan because I'm honestly not that deep in the podcast things.
Interesting, yeah.
I like the very first podcast that I really liked was Mugglecast, and it was MuggleNet.com's Harry Potter podcast, and it was like a 3 or 4 person chat about Harry Potter, and I used to listen to that in middle school, and it was great.
Really quick, do you remember that thing where it was like Snape,
Potter Puppet Palace,
Snape, Dumbledore?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Harry Potter, Ooh, Harry Potter. That's me.
I listen to dozens of hours of podcasts a week. Mostly
Nice.
Rogan, occasionally Duncan Trussell, occasionally others. But I rarely listen to my own. Like I listen to my own, but I don't listen to it as much as I probably should because I was there having the conversation, and it's so hard to listen to yourself sometimes. Where you're like, oof, why is I such a dumbass? Especially earlier episodes. When you're on, this is going to be your 5th or 6th episode, 7th,
Could be 8th.
8th. You don't want to stack up 2 white men in a row.
But it's 158th or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't fully even like done that yet with like the determining which ones are from episodes 2 to 150.
That's funny.
But it'll happen.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
But point is,
not important.
I really didn't have the form of my show until easily episode 9, which is when you first came on, and then it really took form around episode 30. Vividly, episode 30 with Jason Dorsett's second appearance was like a rebirth for the show. I'm like, all right, I think I got a more well-rounded view of what it is.
Yeah.
And then episode 50, I'm rebirthing it again, so I'm happy.
Well, podcasts. I don't know. Literally don't know what I was going to say about podcasts. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's cool. Do you have any critique? Give me criticism
Well, I
on
just
live.
Do I have a critique of your show?
Yeah. The funniest critique was I don't listen enough
The
to
very
critique
first thing
it.
was the name. I mean, at first, just because.
Interesting.
Yeah, I told you that before. That I don't think the name communicates what's happening. I mean, it does in that there are talks and they're happening with Tiger, but just like knowing, you scroll through podcasts and like NPR has a lot of good podcasts. Planet Money, Hidden Brain. Those are pretty cool podcasts.
It is.
But I know you don't actually like NPR style podcasts. You kind of hate it.
Joe Rogan. I like Joe Rogan's and Duncan Trussell's Family Hour. I like ones that are just like, I like the person.
Yeah.
I think what really appeals people to podcasts is I like Broken Radio. That's the only one.
Right.
It's with, you know who? It's with Malcolm Gladwell and Rick Rubin. Crazy good podcast.
I just worry about accessibility sometimes of the podcast. Like, okay, if I do this podcast like your format or Joe Rogan format or whatever, where I just sit there and have an uncensored, unedited chat for the whole time. First of all, I know that is a kind of a limited and almost niche kind of audience, I think.
Interesting.
But also that it's limited in how they're not there. That's only a small subset of the population that would come on a show like that.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
maybe.
Like, for example, like when local news goes to an event, they don't have trouble getting somebody to do like 2 minute like answer some questions on the camera, but they would have a much harder time if they were asking for a 90-minute sit down with someone.
It's been radically easier to find people to come on the show after the first like 50 episodes. The first 50 were tough to find people because they're like, oh, is this really going to last? Am I going to waste my time? Now, almost most people I asked are like, yeah, heck yeah.
Nice. Nice. That's cool.
And I would argue it isn't a niche market. I think, Joe Rogan's the biggest podcaster in the world aside from maybe Serial. Like Joe Rogan's expected to make $100 million this year from podcasting.
Really?
He has over 2 billion downloads.
Damn.
That's not
Just
that
the
niche
money
of a
part.
market.
The billion downloads that's actually still
2
huge.
billion downloads.
Yeah,
and that was last year.
two-
So he's probably at closer to 2.2 or something.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know how I first discovered Joe Rogan?
How?
Do you know how you first discovered Joe Rogan?
Yeah, my roommate. Shout out to Rick Hubble, one of the coolest cats
Okay, I'm
out there.
talking about like elementary school for me. Fear Factor, the show that he was on.
Yeah, I never knew about him.
You never knew about that show?
A year ago. I didn't even know podcasts or him until a year ago.
Here's how that show went down. Here's a big scary action stunt. And then we'll go to a commercial break. Now you got to be in a fucking bucket of worms. And then we'll go back to the scary action stunt for the third one. That's all it was. The second like scary task was always like you eat maggots or you're in a
Or
big
eat poop
bathtub of
or
worms.
drink mule semen, I think was the one that got him kicked off the air.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Joe Rogan's talked about it a couple times.
Unsurprising.
Yeah, gross
There was
stuff.
a Metallica album cover. Oh, we'll wrap around to music and then we'll close out the show.
Beautiful.
There was a Metallica album cover, Load and Reload, and it was actually literally called Load. And it was an artist who had taken a couple panels of glass and some cow's blood and ejaculated semen onto the glass with the cow's blood on one of them and urinated on another one. And then put them together and shone light through it and then took the album cover photos for the Metallica albums.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of cool.
I'm going to look it up.
Well, he also did a work that was very controversial called Piss Christ. And it was a figurine of Jesus Christ in a bottle of urine. And his defense of it was that it was a pro-Christian thing. He was making an artistic statement about what has been done to Christ.
Interesting. Yeah, music's a crazy thing, man. I'm definitely going to make more music in the near future for anyone
Do you like the Elon Musk song? Don't Doubt Your
I'm
Vibe?
not a wook. I'm not a ketamine lover, enthusiast who listens to that kind of music. So no, not for me
So you
personally.
don't like techno, EDM?
No.
I don't particularly seek it out either.
Yeah. That said, it was fun. It was fun to listen to. I think if the vocals had been different, it would have been really good.
Yeah. When I first heard it, I liked it, but as I, heard it a couple more times, I was like, these could be just a little better.
Yeah, it's just like and it's just too repetitive. I think there's better music out there, which I prefer to listen to, and there is better and worse in art. I've finally come to a conclusion with that. If you want to listen to a bad album, look up Too Busy Dreaming to Fall Asleep by Tiger. It's on Spotify.
Oh, I thought you were
everywhere.
actually going to like randomly just take a shot at someone.
Oh my god! If you want to listen to bad music, look up Drake. No, Drake's fine. And then, I'm going to make another EP, probably closer to EDM based music. Just happy, like Up on Melancholy Hill by the Gorillaz.
Up on
Melancholy Hill, there's a plastic beach.
I like that you have a low voice. I don't have a low voice.
I can't do a high voice.
Yeah, it's true.
At all. I can't even sing. I can sing low. That's it. But yeah.
There was a song we did, The Head and the Heart, Rivers and Roads, my a cappella group, senior year. And I got to sing the bass, and this is the note that I hit. That bottom note was, I got to sing that note, and it just made me really happy because I never got to sing a bass part, the whole a cappella group.
I saw one of your acapellas where you're the main person. I don't remember what song it was off the top of my head.
It was either Pokemon, Take on Me,
Take on Me. Take on Me, and you
Wolf.
hit most of the high notes. That was the name of it. Yeah, it was
Thanks,
good.
man.
It was good. I was like,
Yeah, I did
what
make
was
a
that?
couple like little errors on that live performance, but acapella is a hard thing to do, dude.
Acapella's beautiful.
It's a difficult art and it is beautiful, absolutely. But I almost like, as I got to know acapella more, the groups that were really good at it all seemed like some of the most stuck-up musicians I ever met.
Interesting.
Just happened to be. But then I kind of realized that it kind of is. those things go hand in hand just a little bit. Like, to be really good at acapella, you have to be like, you have to be kind of a no nonsense kind of, I care about music and my music is important kind of person.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to be precise enough to be in the group, I think.
I'm with you. Here's a question I got before we wrap it up.
Sure.
So how are you going to put out this episode if you are? Because I mean, like, it starts off really. You think people will be okay with how it starts? Like, you having just a.
Well, let's talk a little bit about our background. Let's humanize.
Yeah. Because we know each other situation. Well. Yeah.
Yes. I don't think it started out well, but I think it's good to be okay and honest and tell people that's part of free speech. You know, I'm not comfortable with everything said in this episode.
Beautiful of you to say that.
But even then, somebody who is sympathetic to alt-right points of view, like, I really believe we need to win those people back on the battlefield of ideas. And, you know, maybe am I being too sensitive by being like, oh gosh, he said he's alt-right.
You're not a sensitive
I don't want to do any of this. I don't want to, you know, let me make sure that you all know at home. I disavow this as I platform it. Like,
no, I think it's necessary if that's the kind of platform you're building. Is like, if you appeal to the left, like, you really do have to make that clear, and I respect that. That's why I'm like I know you don't agree with this. I'm just saying it, and I didn't try to persuade anyone. Like, you weren't platforming someone making persuasive points for. You just asked me questions about myself, and I answered them.
Right.
I think if you were platforming me while I was like throwing out statistics that were racist and stuff like that, like, very validly, I think that would be bad on your part. But that's why on my show I'm like, you can be left or right. I don't care. I'm center. Deal with it, you know? But yeah, so I respect you, man. I respect that you'd even have someone who is not left. I think that's just as you have different races and genders and stuff on your show. I think it's important to have people on different parts of the political spectrum on your show. Right, so that's why I kind of came in hot and heavy like that, because I think you should push for that as well.
Well, our background is knowing each other through school. And I care deeply, as I've said, about education and youth issues. And North Eugene is going to get a brand new building.
Oh, cool.
And with that comes a new opportunity.
I'm gonna go through and see it one more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be fun.
Maybe we can go to a basketball game or something. I think February, is basketball still in season?
Yeah. I just saw someone's story where they had North Eugene basketball.
Nice. Let's check out a game or something.
Cool.
That'd be a lot of fun. As someone who went through North, and I went through North, I wore the shirt specifically because I was going to be with you today. What would you like to see out of that community, like, through this opportunity that they have to get a new building?
Oh, for Brandy to get fired. No, I'm calling. I'm kidding. I'm not going to call someone out. I think they need radical reform in the way that they teach youth through all high schools, not specifically North. I feel like Let's
talk about that. We can go to an hour and a half if we get juicy on education.
Yeah, I feel like my education was stolen from me, and I learned more from YouTube than I did from school. I think the tenets that they teach you in school are a waste. I think the half-life of facts ruins the way that they're teaching you. They don't teach you how to be sustainably. The
half-life of facts, meaning the cycle of having to take the test and then move on to the next unit?
The half-life of facts for any different field, like for some fields it's a lot longer, but there's an amount of years that's between like 7 or 49 for longer ones, where half the amount of studies are false after 7 years for like, like if you were to go back, you know, like my mom was just saying that she was in astrology, or like she worked at the planetarium when I was like, before I was born, and how she's like, oh my God, all this stuff we used to think we were the only galaxy in the universe and stuff like that. Like, things we know are false. We shouldn't be teaching people stuff. We need to be teaching people ways to learn and tenets to be happy and healthy people that can then learn and apply it better. So I think school is a broken ass system that should be changed. I think it's cool that North's getting a new one, but I mean, they got rid of NIHS after I got 1 year of it. And same with Kelly. I got removed from Da Vinci after Da Vinci went away after 1 year of me.
I think NIHS did a really powerful thing, and I think the small schools in general all did, of just giving students a sense that they were learning something in a meaningful and in an intentional way. The American high school is kind of where dreams go to die.
Yeah, it is. And college, but yes, high school too.
And so it feels so much like a system that you're being pushed through and that you're being grinded through. And I think that the small schools like North International High School just was like a team of people that they really would go through at their staff meetings. I sat in on one of them, and they would talk. I wasn't there for this portion of it, but they talked about how they talk about every single student by name.
Oh wow!
At the staff meetings.
Wow,
yes,
that's crazy.
They
awesome.
often did that.
That would be cool. See, I wasn't a part of that.
Yes,
that was a bummer.
And so, when you say like, you basically have this view of education that like there needs to be some really, really big scale systemic overhaul kind of stuff.
I think the internet's going to take it over.
Good stuff that's happening.
I think it's stuck in the past.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the internet has been really cool to watch. I mean, third grade, we had HyperStacks, Hyper Studio, I think is what it's called. And they were cool. They were like kind of a liminal space between a website and a PowerPoint. So it was kind of like a deck that you would click on and make buttons. And I guess it was more like a website than anything.
Yeah.
But the internet is doing a lot to change the way that we learn, but isn't there still, do you have fundamental qualms with the content being taught?
Yes, 100%.
And what are the qualms?
I don't believe history will help you be happier, healthier, or wealthier in life. Here's our real background. Thomas has been on my show 3 times. On Talks with Tiger 3 times.
You should check them out. I think they're really, really great.
Yeah, so we actually have some background recently, not school. Like we didn't really know each other in school. You knew my brother, and we occasionally saw each other. But this is really our background.
Colton rapped on a song on the Brian Stevenson Ball in a Cup project that we recorded in my bedroom in 2013. Baby,
he's a cool guy.
CG. I love Colton.
Yeah, me as well.
Colton's a wonderful
my brother.
person.
I love that guy.
I mean, I really have deep love for everybody in that NIHS class of 2012. I really do. I miss those people.
Hey, one thing, would you be okay talking about on air? Were you going to school last year and you're not going to school this year? Speaking of education,
yes.
Is there a reason?
I've been in a.
Didn't you have like a full ride kind of thing too?
Yes, yeah, but it's on a medical leave. I'm on a leave, and I'm taking some time because I didn't know I had bipolar disorder, and bipolar disorder is like the more that I come to terms with it, I realize it's very, very powerful and central to who I am. And New York was a challenge. So I have a few incompletes in some classes. But I'm going to go back. And if I don't win the mayoral race, which again, like I said, it's not the most likely that I will win it. But if I can get on that top 2 ballot in May, then I'm going to stay here and I'm going to try really hard to win in November.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. But there's also the reality that, man, there's so much that went into that teaching program that was concerning. And again, like, with teaching and education, like it consumes so much of your life, and it kind of makes you a public figure in a small area. And I also really want to be someone who goes all in my 20s with trying to make my art happen.
Mad respect.
Yeah. And so I don't know that teaching is the right route. I think that I got a lot out of that 1 year in New York. I know I got a lot of that 1 year in New York. And honestly, like the fact that I went to Columbia University for a master's degree program was pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
But there's other things too, like integrity, right? Like I said, like I don't like to put my money anywhere where I don't feel like it's a good cause. And I hate that school.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hate almost all the Ivy League schools. I mean, how could I not?
Yeah.
Knowing, and I'm talking about them as schools, not about the people who work there. I'm talking about a culture that develops. I'm talking about a sense of entitlement that these institutions have to your money. Mm-hmm. They'll nickel and dime you at every corner. And yeah, it's rough, dude.
Except instead of nickels and dimes, it's 20s and 40s. $20 for registration. $40 because it's a day late, and then it's not nickels and dimes that they're taking from you. It's vast amounts of money. These colleges.
It is.
We just need to update nickel and dime to 20 and 40.
And it's like any system that you have to pay so much into to have the credibility to change that system.
Yeah,
there is the corruption right there, because most people 99 times out of 100 are like, oh man, I'm so like I've already given everything into this school, and now I should just kind of like
discredit
not try to, I don't know, make change. I don't know what even saying here, but there's a big, I think that you would feel it if you were on that campus for a few months, is like, oh, this isn't a place that cares about people.
That's how I felt at OSU.
Yeah.
I think they care about their grad students, but undergrad students throw them to the wolves. They don't care.
I believe that. Yeah.
So it's a bummer. But yeah, I'm hungry. I'm gonna get some food in my belly. I'm gonna go
Right
eat some
on,
more
dude.
of my potato and sausage soup.
I love
for
food.
this week.
I would love to have a food chat with someone. I did have a chef though.
Oh, yeah.
I did have Kyron, but
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, like my chats are just so unfocused. Like at least you have you basically will put it in the title of your episode what your show is about. I typically don't even do that. So, but this has been really fun.
It's been a
and I want to
pleasure.
ask you the last question.
Yes.
What's one way we could all be less stupid?
Ooh, one way you can be less stupid. Try psychedelics. Try MDMA. Try mushrooms. Try DMT.
Not endorsed by the candidate.
Not endorsed by you, but it's endorsed by me, Tiger Gruber.
All right. I'm glad I gave you the platform to share that you believe in those things.
Yeah.
Don't you think that there's a level of responsibility you might have to take that you're endorsing those behaviors
Yeah.
and those can be unsafe in some
Yeah.
contexts?
Anyone who watches and says they took it because of me, you're lying, and I don't endorse it. But I'm just speaking from my own. Thank you very much, actually, for that opportunity. Yeah. I don't know. People can speak freely about it. I think it's made me less stupid. I think a lot of things have made me less stupid. Reading Krishnamurti. I'll change my mind. Don't take psychedelics. Read Krishnamurti.
Okay.
Beautiful. And listen to Naval Ravikant.
Right
and
on.
me. Let's go listen to Talks with Tiger, the main man.
I love it.
Go get changed to be an alt-righter.
Where can they find it? No.
I'm sorry. It bugs you so much when I say alt-right, doesn't it? Sorry.
And it does reveal something about me. Yeah, I'm really, really turned off by that phrase, but I don't know that much about all right as a
I don't
as a
think anyone
mentality.
does. No one calls himself alt-right. It's just a phrase that people
I mean,
call other people. Have you
there are a
ever
lot
met
of-
someone or seen someone online
There's
who's
just
like, I'm alt-right?
Don't you think there's just too much overlap with the white nationalists?
don't
you think that there are a lot-
at all? I haven't followed at all.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
All right. I'm not
it's-
hurting any.
it's
I'm not
rough.
going to go hurt anyone. I platform people with radically different opinions than me.
Mm-hmm.
It's lighthearted. I just think because of some of my views, like I'm like, you know, something that triggers me, and you said it like multiple times, but I'm like, I don't care that much.
Sure.
The word cis, trying to make non-transgender people call themselves cis male. Is just a way to make it male is not the normal. It's like trans male or cis male. I'm not going to add another. It's like, remember when we were probably 8,
I mean,
you had to
don't
add
you think you have to
541?
make that distinction? But
No, I'm a
sometimes-
male. Who cares? You can think I'm a trans male. I don't care. I don't care. If you really think that I'm a woman transitioned to a male, it doesn't offend me. I'm a male. And I think trans male should just go by male. Who cares? Unless you want to be specifically trans male, then call yourself that.
And here's another challenge with our language. Like there's a difference between being a man and a male and a female and a woman. And like, you know, I have feminist friends who like, they don't like the, when like, let's say a hip hop song comes on and people say they're going to get some females to come over to the party because it just sounds like it's just degrading. It doesn't even like talk about their womanhood and it doesn't talk about their humanity, their personhood. It's just you're a female, which means that you have reproductive organs that feel compatible with mine. And so what are you doing in my show? What have I done?
No one
I
watches
think you're the
videos.
youngest guest on the show. Actually, Tai Yi and you are roughly the same age. And now I'm realizing, like, okay, I want to get like high schoolers and stuff on the show, but this has become so juvenile. You perverted the dang show. Sorry.
I love it.
I don't know what
go
I'm
read
doing.
Krishnamurti and check out my show, Talks with Tiger. It's wherever you're listening to this, unless it's on YouTube. Go listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcast. It's beautiful.
What if I just purposely make every episode a train wreck because those are fun to watch?
That'd be funny.
You know,
should
what if
do
I
it.
like
Have a
stumbled my
fist
way
fight
through
in
this
one.
on purpose?
Yeah, you just start yelling at guests. What the
You don't know
fuck are
my-
you talking about, man?
Well, I fucking hate everything you do, and you're never going to convince me.
I'm actually not a fan of anything you do.
There's
Let's
another
start off
character.
with this.
There's another character that I don't think it's Soybean, but this is a voice that I really like to do.
Give it.
And I don't think I'm funny, but I still like to entertain myself in the stillness of the world. It's just this character with this voice, and I don't know what he's particularly concerned about, but he's always concerned about things. I heard there's a city ordinance that says that you have to bring your dogs if you're riding your bike. I can't bring my dog while I'm riding my bike.
It's okay.
This is not something I can abide by. I went to the city council and I didn't get any change done, but I'm going to keep advocating. Who do you think I'm making fun of with that voice? I literally don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it has to be making fun of someone. I think some people see themselves. Here's the thing: if you use that, you should use it in shorter segments. I think that's
I've
a
heard
really
people
good funny
tell me
voice.
that it's an old person's voice, and I don't know that that's what I mean it to be.
No, I think it's a stuffly guy with a deviated septum or something.
Okay.
That's like that's something. It's not like I'm not saying a pierced septum, deviated septum. You should use that in shorter story. Like if you have that in your movie, you should only have it in like 10 seconds, not like 30 seconds. It just runs on. You're like, okay, next.
Okay.
Yeah. Fair. But it's funny. I like it. Yeah,
all right.
It's a
What's
pleasure.
one way we can all be more stupid?
Ooh.
Cut off the podcast abruptly. Peace.
Peace.